Did you guys catch Mephisto in WandaVision? Yeah, he was standing in the background right next to Mr. Fantastic and Evan Peters' Quicksilver and sorry. That didn't happen. After all the big theories that Mephisto was going to be the main baddie, WandaVision surprised us all by having no big surprise after all. But although the show didn't go with Mephisto, that doesn't mean WandaVision didn't tease some other major villains who could be the next huge threats in the MCU. Guys, guess what? Wanda's name is actually the Scarlet Witch. What a surprise, what an awesome reveal. Oh, what? We knew that literally the whole time? Okay, fine, I get that the MCU never had acknowledged her name as the Scarlet Witch before, which made the moment so powerful when Agatha names her, but I'm pretty sure we've all been calling her Scarlet Witch for like 6 years now. Anyways, along with her name, WandaVision introduced a whole new side of the MCU when Agatha casually throws out the fact that Wanda is using chaos magic and shows us the Darkhold. Both of these things could hint at a new big bad right around the corner, and his name is Chthon. After all, Wanda was said to be even more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme now, so what could possibly stand in her way and be a threat to her? How about the being that gave her the powers to begin with? In the comics, Chthon is the primordial god of chaos and was the one who bestowed Wanda's powers to her. Also a fun fact, Chthon can never find those commemorative necklaces or license plates with his name on them because, let's face it, Chthon is a pretty rare name.
Come along, Bort.
Are you talking to me?
No, my son is also named Bort.
He also was the one who wrote the Darkhold, which is the ominous-looking book Wanda is studying now. That seems like it would make a lot of sense for her studies to lead her to the book's origins and its creator, opening a whole world of hurt for the entire universe. But it will be interesting to see if they bring Chthon in at all and how much of the Darkhold's history they actually mention, because this isn't the first time we've seen it technically in the MCU. In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Darkhold was used to create the virtual world known as the Framework, and then in Runaways, the book was used by Morgan Le Fay in order to bring the Dark Dimension to Earth. So now the whole "it's all connected" mantra is really going to come into play. Will the MCU want to sidestep acknowledging those other two shows by not going in detail about the Darkhold's origins? I wouldn't be that surprised, would you? Well, if Chthon isn't going to be the next big villain, there's someone else who could step up and be a real nightmare. Like, literally, his name is Nightmare. At the end of WandaVision, we saw Wanda have to give a dramatic goodbye to her two children as the hex dissolved all around her. When it was all over, Wanda was alone again, locked away in some serene, isolated cabin and somehow able to split herself into two so that she can do mundane things like make coffee and get her work done. Man, I wish I was more like Wanda. It would make working from home during the pandemic a little easier, don't you think? Anyways, that's not important. What we should mention is that while Wanda was studying, she suddenly hears Billy and Tommy cry out for help. Now, this raises a ton of questions. Where are they? Are they alive? Is it a trick? Where can I pick up my own Scarlet Witch costume? Okay, strike that last one. But with the confirmation that Wanda's kids are still out there somewhere, the question becomes, where are they and how's Wanda going to rescue them? This has led to speculation that they're actually trapped in the ethereal dream dimension thanks to some of that fancy mumbo-jumbo magic stuff. Because Billy and Tommy were essentially dream representations, right? And remember how striking that one line in the finale was from one of the townsfolk?
When you let us sleep, we have your nightmares.
That's a pretty heavy line. Maybe that was supposed to lay the groundwork for the villain known as Nightmare, the primordial being who rules over the dream dimension. How cool would it be if Wanda has to mount a rescue to the dream dimension to rescue her kids and make them real? Maybe with Doctor Strange as her sidekick? That would make for a fascinating battle because it would be two of the most powerful magic users in the MCU versus a primordial being who runs the dream dimension. Sounds like a pretty fair fight. Honestly, either Chthon or Nightmare would make an excellent villain for not just Wanda, but the entire MCU going forward. After Thanos, the universe is going to need a next major threat who can pose a legitimate challenge to our Avengers, and either of these two villains would make excellent candidates. You can tell with Phase 4, magic is going to become extremely important after the tech-heavy heroes and plot points of the first three phases of the MCU, but it feels like Kevin Feige and the rest of Marvel are finally ready to get a little strange and mystical with the MCU. Plus, if either Chthon or Nightmare makes an appearance in the MCU, it further would put Wanda front and center as the new face of the MCU going forward, and I think that's a great idea. Wanda was in a weird spot at the end of WandaVision. Yes, she embraced her powers a bit more, but she also has a lot to answer for. Those residents of Westview are probably traumatized for life, and the show seemed to frame her actions as okay. So by forcing her to be the new face of the franchise to fight these new villains, it will further her character arc and cement her transformation into the MCU's most complex character. It's a win-win. Bring on Chthon and Nightmare. Actually, obviously the next big bad is Jimmy Woo, who's going to use his newfound close-up magic skills and quickly be corrupted and turn to the dark side like an evil sorcerer supreme. I mean, at that rate, Jimmy will be unstoppable.